last week, of course, was a big week. Your new track, Follow Me, is out, which I love. It is such a vibe.
You.
Came out, I feel like, perfect time of the year. But before we get into all of that, can you start with your story a little bit and how you got into making music?
Yeah. Well, I've been making music for like 10 years. I grew up in St. Louis, but I moved to Boulder to go to CU Boulder. And that was kind of like when I really got into producing and was kind of like introduced to like this whole world of electronic music that I was just like, holy shit. Because there was an awesome scene going on there. It was like, Big Gigantic and Grizz and Pretty Lights and STS9 and all those people were like coming up like while I was in school there. So I got to like see it all like grow right in front of my eyes, which was awesome. But my brother was in a bunch of bands in St. Louis growing up, so I kind of learned a lot of music from him, but I never really did it myself. I was always kind of like a fan and like envied what he was doing and kind of like followed him around a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't until I was a sophomore in college that I kind of just dove into the recording software. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a shot. And like, I know I have it in my blood, but I just like, I didn't know how to get into it. And then I just got curious and started diving in and, going to record stores, picking up old records and chopping them up and just kind of like figuring it out and watching a fuck ton of music or YouTube videos.
Yes.
I don't know if I can cuss on here or not.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
The more the merrier, Maddie. The more the merrier.
Perfect.
And I
Like,
think that's so cool to hear. I really believe that just like jumping into things and figuring it out for yourself, that's such an interesting way to learn and really find different aspects of it. And look at you now.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. It's like a lot of, I'm surrounded by all these like phenomenal, like classically trained musicians, like in like the jam band scene and whatever. And like, it's crazy because people envy me for coming in blindly, because I just like had no idea what I was doing. And I just kind of like figured it out. And that kind of helped me discover my own sound rather than like having to unlearn something that I was taught.
Totally.
So, I mean, it goes both ways. For a while, I was like intimidated because I was like, oh, I don't like know music theory or whatever. And then, yeah, I just kind of like figured it out.
Yeah, you did, girl. And you're still in Colorado to this day?
Yeah, I live in Denver.
Amazing. What is the music scene like in the Denver area now, would you say?
Currently it is like just bass music is
Hmm.
taking over the entire scene.
Yep.
Everyone is just like, yo, it's like the bass music capital of the US. And like that just like happened over the last couple of years. Because it's always been like a hub. Like in my opinion, it's been like, there's LA for, kind of more the more mainstream and like pop and all of that. But there's been such an amazing like underground electronic scene here for so long, and I think like the secret just got out and everyone just started moving here, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
uh,
Bittersweet for sure.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's incredible. There's like musicians, producers, it's just like the art community in general is really amazing, and everyone kind of like works together,
Mhm.
which I think is something different than other scenes that I've seen. You know what I mean? A lot of times it's like competition or people just don't think in like the way of we're stronger together kind of vibes.
Yes.
When people definitely do in Denver, which I think is definitely part of the magnetic thing of the community that is here.
Yes, that's very special. And I always think that Colorado is just so cool. And I feel like you confirmed that. I feel like it's
Yeah.
a good vibe state.
Oh, totally. I mean, people come here to like snowboard and hike, and like everyone is just so like lifestyle based. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like they want to be outdoors and they want to be talking to people and like going to see music. It's very laid back. So
Yes.
it definitely contributes to the music that comes out of this scene for sure.
For sure. And speaking of music out of that scene, let's talk about Follow Me, just released last week. What inspired this track for you, Maddy?
Um, so I was kind of I started working on this album at the beginning of this year, like in January. I was kind of like experimenting with the sounds, and this was actually the first time that I took like a whole month to like just experiment, just like finding sounds that I liked, like making a folder of like resources for myself, like, you know, this is kind of like the vibe that I'm going for, almost like creating like a palette for the record, which really helps me in the long run. I don't know why I've never done that before.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, like just like setting myself up for success. And this was actually, it's like the third or fourth song that I started. And it was kind of like Troy Boy inspired.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Just like with that super like 808, like down low, just kind of like vibey bass line was like the first thing that I added. And then it was kind of like, well, it was the beat and the bass line. And then I sent it to my buddy Balk and Bump. So that came next. And then the vocals are by this dude, Roderick Malone. And he kind of just like made it all click, you know what I mean, with the Follow Me. And there was verses too, but we decided to just keep the hook.
Yeah.
But it kind of felt like I was like beginning this new chapter of my sound and just kind of like my career. So like the vocals were very congruent with that, like, you know, kind of like inviting people to follow me into this new chapter. So that's kind of like where that inspiration came from.
Yes, well, we're following Maddy. And what I love, one of the highlights for me in this track are the trumpets. He goes crazy on this track. What was it like working with Balk and Bump?
He's amazing. He's just like, we've been connected for so long. Like we're in the same like festival circuit and the same like scene. And I've always like wanted to collaborate with him because that's kind of like part of my style is I love collaborating with live musicians and instrumentalists. It just kind of like brings a little bit of organicness to like the electronic vibe, you know? So yeah, I mean, I was like, do your thing. I like to give people full creative freedom when I'm collaborating with them too. So I was just like, do your thing on it, whatever you're hearing, you know, there could be like this, because it's like this trappy melody that I was hearing in my mind, but he like nailed it in a way that was like so much more like worldly than I even imagined, you know what I mean? So yeah, it was really cool. It was cool to like give someone the reins and then be like completely stoked with what they do, like no feedback. I was just like, yep, that's it.
That's amazing. So with that being said, you want to do more collaborations. Who else is on your dream list to work with down the road?
Oh man. So many people. I always say I love Little Dragons. Do you know who Little Dragon is?
No.
Little Dragon has the most incredible voice. I've always thought that like our styles would blend really well.
Okay.
So she's been on the list for sure. I would love to collaborate with like LS Dream or Zed's Dead, some other people like more immediately in my scene. Yeah, Grizz.
Great list.
Yeah.
And we're just manifesting it. I don't know if you believe in that sort of thing, but that's
yes, I do.
We're putting it out in the universe.
Take it into the world.
Absolutely. You have a slogan that I absolutely love. Dirty, funky bass music, but make it pretty. Yes. Amazing. Iconic. So with that, I have to ask, what is it like? What has your experience been like as a woman in what tends to be a male-dominated genre?
Honestly, I've had a pretty chill experience because I've been surrounded by so many of my best friends.
Yes.
Like most of my early touring experiences were with, you know, my best guy friends. Like I felt like they were my brothers, you know? So like I didn't come into the scene feeling super intimidated or as intimidated as, you know, I know some people probably do. Right. It was very interesting. I think the the weirdest part to me was that I didn't have other women to like relate to. Um, I didn't have a lot of mentors that were females. I did have one. Her name's Alicia. She she lives in Spain now.
Wow.
But yeah, she was kind of like my early on mentor in the scene, which was awesome. But like other than her, I was just like looking around like, well, I'm like the token chick.
Yeah, totally.
So I mean, I definitely have had like interesting experiences on the road, like, walking into a venue and people like not acknowledging me as like part of the crew. They just assumed I was somebody's girlfriend or something. So there's been sprinkled experiences along the road, but I just try to, my favorite part of that is like when someone has like low expectations of you, like walking into a venue and then like they come up to you after you play and they're just like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, and I'm like,
Isn't that the best? You're like,
yeah.
duh. Of course you're sorry.
Yeah. So, you just kind of like go with the flow. And I realize that people aren't used to seeing females in the space too. So like, I try to give them a little bit of credit if I can be a part of like changing their mind about something. I think that's like the healthiest way to approach it.
Absolutely. Do you have anyone that you feel like you're mentoring now? Has the tables turned?
Yeah, I mean, so over the pandemic, I actually was doing one-on-one Ableton lessons over Zoom.
Amazing.
Yeah, so like the beginning of 2020, I went to Costa Rica and taught like a women in music retreat, like in the middle of the jungle. It was like 50 women just like learning how to DJ, learning how to produce, like singing, like there was like all these different facets of like teaching.
Amazing.
Yeah, and that was kind of like my first real teaching experience. And I loved being able to take on that role because, back to what I was saying, like I didn't have that. So I'm very grateful to be in a position to like pass down knowledge or like be like a source of whatever, like come to me if you need advice about the scene, or if you want me to hear a song and give you feedback. Like I always, especially to females, I always encourage them, like my DMs are open, like now that I don't have time to do lessons anymore, like I at least want people to feel comfortable reaching out. So
hell yeah. I love to see women helping women. That's a beautiful thing, Maddy.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
awesome. I'm about to slide in your DM, so you better be careful with that.
Come on in.
And I know that you're a really busy woman. Is this true? You perform about 90 shows a year?
Yeah.
Woo! That's awesome. What do you do to prepare for your performances?
I'm constantly like, on the couple of days in between shows that I get to come home, I'm constantly evolving my set and like finishing music and putting new music into my sets and like digging for other music, to kind of like switch up the vibe. Like I have to keep it interesting for me too. You know what I mean? It's like you could play all over the country and like, play the same set, but like that gets boring,
Of course.
I know people that do that. It's the only
Yeah.
reason
And that's,
that
it is what it is, but I get it. That gets boring.
yeah. So like I'm constantly trying to like keep it interesting, and keep pushing myself to make things better and better, and testing out new songs on the road is always like the most terrifying and exciting thing at the exact same time. So I've been doing that a lot the last couple of weeks because the album is like, it's going to be done in 3 days. I think.
That's a big deal. Yeah. We're manifesting that too.
Yes,
That's awesome.
So I've been playing a lot of these songs for the first time ever on the road, and it's going well. So
that's awesome,
exciting.
Maddy. I know you have some really cool performances coming up as well. Yeah. What are you looking forward to the most?
My next show actually is Lollapalooza in Chicago.
Casually, just Lollapalooza.
Yeah, I just found out that they're streaming my set on Hulu too, which is huge.
Oh, I can't wait to watch it on Hulu.
Yeah. So I play Friday, July 29th.
Okay.
So right now, currently, that is what I'm most excited about. And I'm trying to prep for that and get my outfit together and get all the pieces together.
Hell yeah. Oh,
But
that's so cool. I can't wait to watch it in the comfort of my own home.
yes,
Amazing.
yeah, hell
Oh,
yeah.
that's a
Thank
big
God for live streams.
yeah. So we gotta talk about the album. You said that's gonna be ready in 3 days. What else can you tell us about it? When are you planning to release it? All that good stuff.
Um, I already forget the date.
It's
Let me forgive me. I'm gonna look it up.
all right.
I think it's September 20th.
Okay.
Um, yeah. Yeah, I'm putting out one more single next month. Um, I'll give a little teaser. It's with the singer named Moons.
Okay.
She lives in LA and she's a badass. Um, and I've been wanting to work with her too, and just kind of like randomly reached out to her. I just started like hitting people up, it
Yep.
can't hurt.
Yep.
And yeah, we made a really badass song that's coming out next month into the album, which is September 20th. Yes, I had it right.
Amazing. Amazing. So that is obviously something to look forward to. How many tracks on this album?
It's gonna be 10 as long as this last one makes the cut. That's what these next 3 days are. Is like, is this last one gonna make it on, or is it gonna be 9? So,
Awesome. Well,
yeah.
regardless, we'll be looking forward to September 20th. What
Yes.
other artists have you been listening to lately, Maddie, in your free time?
Um, oh, I listen to like so much different music.
Yeah.
Um, some people I've been digging lately are like Channel Trace. This dude Roman Silver is one of my favorite producers. He's kind of up and coming right now.
Cool.
Jerry Folk. Have you heard of Jerry Folk?
No.
He's really cool. I like to like really dig for people that are kind of like on the cusp
Yes.
of coming up. So you probably won't recognize a lot of people that I'm saying.
But that's why I'm glad I asked because these are people
Yeah,
that
now
I
you
look up
get
on Spotify.
exactly. Yeah, spreading the word.
Yes, absolutely. Well, last but certainly not least, Maddie, here in the state of Maine, our state motto is the way life should be. So I want to know, according to you, what is the way life should be?
Um, on your own terms,
Yes.
always.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's it. On your own
You
terms.
have the reins, and if you live your life with that in mind, that you're in control of your own destiny and path, I think it gives you a lot of power and freedom to go for the things that you want to do.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about, Maddie. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today, and I look forward to seeing you next Friday on Hulu.
Yeah. Oh my God, it is next Friday. Fuck.
Yeah. Best of luck to you, Maddie. You're gonna crush it at Lollapalooza and with everything else.
Thank you so much. It was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Until we meet again.